Good afternoon. Welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. Yours truly, the number one grinder. One of the best kept secrets on social. Welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. Yours truly, the number one grinder. One of the best kept secrets on social media, the best of the business. We got another chop up here. This is part two. Sister Ateam 3307. The first part, oh, it was great. Got if y'all missed that, I advise y'all to go search for it and listen. Very inspirational and stuff like that. Let's get these quick announcements out the way, and then we gonna plug in Sister Ateam in the building. Welcome to my underrated one family. Thanks for supporting me. Let's keep on fighting for the truth and stand on it. Thank you so much. So shout out to my underrated one family. Also shout out to No Duck Zone family, No Duck Zone podcast family. Keep up the great work. Shout out to hashtag TWT family. Shout out to y'all. Y'all keep up the fine work, great work. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, that's for Lions Den Boston community, also basketball community. Shout out to y'all. Y'all keep up the great work. Now we're gonna bring the one and only Sister Ateam 3307. Good evening. Hi, good afternoon. Great afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
That's great. That is so great. How is everyone? I can't see the chat. If there's anyone in the chat, hello to you.
Guys, I ain't seen nobody in the chat yet. See
Hmm.
nobody in the chat yet and everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of different live streams going on. So we have
Yeah,
to
so
try to pick a day when there's not that many.
what's sad is fickle minded.
Hmm.
It is. Sometimes, you think it to be a lot of one be coming on, and sometimes so it's fickle minded. I picked 135 because usually that at that time be the ones in the morning. They be getting up by right now, but
Hmm.
we're gonna make the best out of it and stuff like that. So it's all right. It's
Yes,
all right.
yes.
It's all right.
Hmm.
So how was your morning so far?
It was good. Yeah, the morning been over. It's afternoon, almost mid afternoon.
Oh, okay. I should ask you, how's your day so far?
It's going well. By the grace of God, it's going well.
Yeah, I was before we started, I had to go back. I said, oh, I gotta get some more stuff for the house. So after I did my morning live and everything, I said, oh, I gotta get some more stuff before I start this. So I got back on time and rest a little bit and play some stuff a little bit and stuff like that. But we gonna get on. We gonna get on with the chop up because you said you only can stay an hour, right?
Yeah, I'll try to stay a little while longer.
Okay, well, okay, no problem. Thank you and stuff. And so I know Sister At that she put out the live and everything. Want to come by? Come on by. Come on by. Come on by. Now, let me ask you. The last time we was talking about vibes,
Mm-hmm.
and we was talking about how different nation of vibes. Some people had like it depends. You gotta different things, different surroundings and stuff. We never really get to it because I know you have to go on part one. I know you have to go, and I want to elaborate more on that because I gets it, but there are some might not get it. So I want you to explain that, please, because as we see, in this space, especially, there are some people they think they're giving out good vibes, but sometimes the surroundings doesn't fit. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you could feel when you don't fit somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What you were saying? I'm sorry.
You can feel when you don't fit somewhere. You can, if
Right.
you're in tune with yourself, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to go more on that because I said I can say for me before you go. I know for me that I could look at a live, right? Now I'd be like, no, I go past it, and then people say, "Once you hit the like, well, nah. If I don't feel it, I don't feel it." You hear what I'm saying?
Yes,
And I go past it, and then people like, you shouldn't do. No, I mean, like, if I don't feel it, I don't feel it. I'm not gonna force it.
you're correct.
And so I feel like I want you to go more on that because people seem like people want to just want to be accepted.
And that's true. Most people, they will morph into something else to be accepted by that something else. Because if you really have to have strong character. You really have to know who you are, whose you are, your morals. You really have to know that you can stick to your morals, your values, um, instead of morphing to what isn't right. You'll know when something isn't right if you can't tell anybody about something else, or you just have a feeling that's not right. Period. You feel it in your gut. You can feel it in your gut when things aren't right. Um, because I don't indulge in a lot of negativity, or sometimes I just would rather not say anything than because I don't have like a spirit of a argumentative, chaotic spirit. I grew up in Bridgeport. I went through all that when I was younger. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I had a chaotic mother. My mother and my father were like day and night. I went through all the arguing, the fussing, the nitpicking, the cantankerousness, the egregious behavior. Um, what else can I say? The doing things because you don't like somebody and you don't even know why you don't like them. I went through all of that when I was young. I was purged from all of that. Um, I, you have to be allowed, you have to be able to allow people to be themselves because God didn't make us as we're not bots. We're not all programmed a certain way. You understand what I'm saying? We
Yes.
we do things. We could all do the same thing, but we all do it a certain way, a different way, because we're different. So a lot of times we get caught up in the idea of us and it's not really us.
Mhm.
You thought about that? Like, for instance, am I off the goalpost? I might be off the goal. But yeah, foolishness. It seems like we champion, shout out to Mr. He said at Promote Conscious Parenting. Shout out to Miss She said, one of the greatest couples on YouTube. The
Well, I never
dynamic
thought it was a
duo.
couple.
They're married.
I again, I
Yeah.
go be fitted. I go, I take heed to the message. Shout out to take heed to the message. I just
Shout
go.
out to Take Heed. Yes.
That's it. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yes. Yeah, they say it all the time on their channel. You must not watch them a lot.
Nah,
But
nah, I
a
don't
lot of
because
people,
I might have to still watch it, but I think I
yeah,
subscribe to them. But you know how YouTube is and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna
they
check that.
don't put you, they probably don't put them in the algorithm because like you is positive and it seemed like society champions nigga stuff now.
Yeah,
It seems that's what it seems like.
it is. There ain't no scene. I ain't mean like to say like that. You know what I'm saying, sis? No, you're right. It is.
We do. It seems like when it's negativity, you have everybody on your side when you're thinking irate or you don't think or you you don't think logically. You do everything through emotion. And that's something I had to learn. You know, we all
Mhm.
have to learn, especially as women, to stop operating through our emotions for every little thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying because let me get a little history before we continue. So somebody that probably say like, "How do you met Sister 18?" I met Sister 18 to take heed to the message. Now she knew of me, but like take heed to the message. I did a chopper with her, and what happened was Sister 18. I started getting to with her. And she said, "I want you to go check my man. And he's fire and stuff." I didn't, at that time, I didn't know that she would promote my channel like that. I'm talking about take heed to the message. And what happened was Sister 18 was checking out my channel, and she like, was she here? And she became a supporter of mine. So shout out to take heed to the message, and identify what I'm doing and stuff. And I very appreciate that and everything. And so I just want people to understand that, when people come in, I try to have good people come in, but also I had help too. And so shout out to take heed to the message. Thank you, sis. And also I want to thank you, Sister 18, you even took a chance to get to know my channel and me and to understand that I'm trying to do the best I can to bring positively wherever I do. And I just want to I also I want to let you know, give you your flowers right now. Thank you for the encouragement and thanks for being for who you are as a queen, that you
Thank
still
you.
fight for us as a people in your own way. And I really appreciate that because us as black men, we get,
You
and
don't get
sometimes
praised. Black
no,
men are not praised and honored enough.
I don't get praise. And then so sometimes when we get it, we hear from the black woman that don't worry about I got you. It means a lot. And I'm gonna do a man's channel about that too. I'm gonna do a man's channel about that. But that's down the road. We ain't gonna talk. We gonna talk about Sister 18. It's about you, Sister 18. But I just want.
No, it's not about me. Nothing is about me.
No, I'm
Our
talking
lives
about.
are
I'm
not
talking about. I'm
about
talking about the
us.
live.
You know,
I'm talking about the live.
nothing is about me.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
I got it. Okay. I just want to let you know to give you that respect. I just. But 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 what did you see us as a people right now in the conditions that we're in right now?
We're not in a good condition right now. We're not mentally, emotionally, and financially, spiritually. A lot of not us are not in good conditions. We don't have, like they said, Crockett, and I know this might ruffle a lot of feathers. She is not a good example for
Oh,
of a black woman, a successful black woman. She is not at all.
oh, you know what? Sister Ateam, right? Because I briefly talked about this on my channel, and you know, you're not the only black woman say that. But what's so disappointing, right? Because I want to behave myself today. I just because I want to show respect what I'm saying. I want to be firm what I'm saying. I just want people to understand that I'm all for our people, but we have to before I continue, we have to understand no matter if you're a black man or a black woman, we gotta hold each other accountable.
Yes, we do.
And I think that's I know that's the problem, but I find out, Sister 18, you're not the only sisters that's saying that. There's quite a few sisters that's really saying that. But the sad thing about it, y'all getting pushed back a lot. How dare you say that about her? Look at her. You know she's a boss. You know she go after, such and such. But it reminds me of my late mother, right? And my late aunt. There's a way that you gotta conduct yourself. And I see this throughout the years, and it goes for men too. But I know you brought up Jasmine Crockett, and I'm glad you did. That our people is the worst enemy.
Yes, we
Our
are the
people,
worst enemies. We're the
we
worst enemies of ourselves.
yes,
We
and
are, and Jesse Paris, you are correct. We don't want to be held accountable for anything.
no,
Anytime somebody say something to us, we that we're liable for, we get upset about accountability. And accountability is most of the time constructive criticism. And a lot of us don't like constructive criticism. And the way another thing is when you constructively criticize someone, you're supposed to do it in private. We gotta put everything on the internet. And I say
mm-hmm.
internet, not internet. We gotta put everything on the internet in our community. We do.
Yeah,
We gotta put when you constructively criticize somebody, it's to make them better. You're not supposed to make them feel like they're less than in the midst of constructively criticizing them. As a matter of fact, there's no confidentiality. There's
no,
no sisterhood. There's no confidentiality. There's no sisterhood among the sisters. They are sisterhoodlums, the sisterhood. Um, all females cannot be called a woman because I was taught that a woman has a certain character, a woman and a lady. And a woman has ladylike characters. And I
mm,
hate in this space when they say, oh, women this and women that. That's not women. Those are females. Because women and ladies don't do certain things. They would never.
I gotta say this, Sister Ateam. Let me get this announcement out the way. Welcome to my channel, The Underrated Darkness. You're truly the number one grinder, one of the best kept secrets on social media, the best in the business. You better believe that. And we doing a chop up part two of my sister 183307. So please, if y'all listening, come by, hit the like button, and enjoy this conversation because it's very, very important. Is that, you know what? And then go back, everything that you're saying, Sister 18, right? It's like you sitting down, right? With the you sitting down with the elders, right? Like right now. And then you just what you just said, it's like I'm sitting down. I said, wow, I heard that or I heard that. But it's a reminder. And see, these reminders become chimps. And we still don't heat on the chimps. Now, if I go by and say, oh, Sister Ateam is this and that and everything. Oh, really? Get out of here. But all along, ever since this chop, even the first part of the chop up, even going to the second part, it's nothing but Jim. But you know, they're gonna say, oh, you know, shit, 18, Sister 18 is a pygmy. Oh, she just going by what the brother is saying instead of understand black women. There's a black woman that want the best for y'all. Just as the black man want the best for the brothers. And also there is a certain separation, the relationship between the black man and the black woman. Like she was saying, there's no contrariety on it. There's that how you don't want to hold each other accountable. Because we just and then people talk about standing on business. What business is you talking about? Air out somebody's, business on it. That's not being a grown-up. It's not. And we have to, us as a people, we got enough is on us already. This system ain't be good to us. But at the same time, we hurting ourselves. And so I just hope when we continue this chop up with Sister Ateam, let's close the division between the black men and the black woman. Let's start to hold each other accountable, constructive, as she said. We can do it, but we have to understand there are some black men, and I want you to talk more about this, Sister Ateam, after I finish this part. Between the black man and the black woman, we doing a lousy job, especially the one in these prominent positions. And you can go ahead, Sister 18. We can follow it up.
What was I gonna say? Yes, the things that Jasmine Crockett, you see what she's bringing. There's a certain way. Let me just put it like this. There's a certain way, especially when you are in Congress or anywhere, that we should conduct ourselves. And she's just the opposite. And Jasmine didn't grow up like that. She didn't grow up in the hood. She went to private school, so she didn't even have to deal with hood people. So I don't understand where all of this is coming from. And the other thing was her Felicia Rashad, the way they dogged her out. Like, it's like,
Yes.
we don't we don't want to hear what the elders have to say. She said, oh, oh my God. He said Jasmine Crocker. that's that's about it. That's about it. Chick, I agree with you. I totally agree. But we yeah, we're going somewhere we don't want to go. Um, even like minor things when we were at the bus stop and there was an elderly, we didn't curse, we didn't. There's certain things we just didn't do.
Mhm.
And now it's like it's whatever. They curse in front of grown people. They smoke. So they have no shame. Shout out to Miss She said we have to bring back shame. We really do.
And there are some people that actually said that to me in the past. Let men hold men accountable, let women let women hold women accountable. And I agree with that. But how about you? How about you in a certain place that you need to correct that man, or that woman need to correct that man, or that man need to correct that woman? We should wait until continued behavior is happening.
So we should not wait until continued behavior is happening. We should correct them in private though. It's according to how bad it is. But I remember a time when people didn't allow people to fight either. Now they're out here, they're recording fights. People will stop a fight. People will tell a person get in a car. Sometimes people will ask a person, "Can you put him in his car? In your car? Just take him away from here. Just take him away from here." Yeah, I've seen people pay people to take people away from a fight
Yeah.
because it could result in death. Now, oh,
Mhm.
people want to see a fight. They're gonna egg it on. Hey, time, respect, and blessings, my brother. Long time no see. Go ahead, underrated darkness.
Oh, you said, oh God, and this is the thing that going for that thing that angers me, right?
You
That
know, I had two cousins.
okay.
They were fighting.
Mm-hmm.
This was this was in '94. It was like a year after I moved here, but I was in Connecticut visiting. My two cousins were fighting. Dwayne was sort of, he was a bully. He would fight and he could fight. And where they started fighting was about a quarter of a mile from my other cousin's house. And my cousin went in the house, the younger one. And I'm gonna tell you why it's so sad. Dwayne and my other cousin's mother were very close, and the two mothers were close. You know, people grew up like brothers and sisters back then, even though they were cousins. There was all these people from the community, and they walked him down. They walked with them down to where Corey was, and Corey went in the house, got the gun, came outside, and shot Dwayne. Corey's sister was a nurse at the time. She was trying to revive Dwayne and she couldn't. So imagine that. Imagine how that took a toll on us and the family. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, with all those people out there, somebody could have stopped it. What do you think? Somebody could have stopped the fight.
Right.
I saw, because the way I grew up at, I saw people die in front of me. I saw a lot of stuff, so I don't champion nigga stuff. I don't do if stuff. Why argue? You don't even have to argue. Some stuff, like, say what you want to say. I'm like this. Say what you want to say about me. I know who I am for real. So you can say what you want to say and feel how you want to feel about me, but just don't touch me.
Right.
And it's like a lot of people want to get a rise out of others. They like to get that rise. Their spirit is so chaotic that they like to get a rise out of others. And a lot of times, a lot of that stuff, I was always taught to, because I saw examples of it. You know, you could just leave if somebody do something, you're okay. Like step on your shoe or something. You're okay and keep moving. Arguments,
Yes.
I've seen a lot of arguments result into death. It's
Yeah.
arguments over nothing.
Mhm. Yeah, I seen that. I seen that too. It was one time though. It's me, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. Shout out to New York. Shout out to everybody. Man, shout out to all our people. And got I forgot to say that at the beginning a lot. And one of my partners, still living today. He was about that life. And he over. I mean, it was this guy that I have. It was this brother that had problems for years. And he always say something. So he said, yeah, school bus, special education, slow child and stuff like that. So at the time, my older brother was like part of that life too. I'm not gonna say, but it's part of that life. So my brother, like, look, if I hear this again, it's gonna be problems, right?
Hmm.
So what happened was, it was cool to calm down. This is back like now I'm in high school now. So got out to high school, I see him again. Said, yeah, slow child. You where your brother? I said, I don't need my brother. I said, you. I said, so try. I said, do you want to get it on? I'll show you how how this slow person get down. Do you want this work? So they look at me like this, like that. So now we go back to one of my peeps. Like I say, he was about that life. He just came home. He was about that life. So I'm gonna tell you how God works in mysterious ways. I haven't seen him like a few years. And I said, hey, yo, man, what's going on, brother JT? How you doing? I said, I'm all right. Yo, what's wrong, man? What's wrong? What's wrong with my brother? So I can't tell you because I cannot afford for you, get locked up. We need you out here. I said, we need you out here in the field, bro. I said, you know how I feel. I said, I know. Because when I first met him, we was very young. We was in special ed together. You hear what I'm saying? So we know the
Hmm.
system. We fought for each other, all that. You know what I mean? We talk about Africa, all that. So because his uncle and his aunt was part of the Black Panthers back in the 70s in the Brooklyn chapter.
Hmm.
And also, when I was coming up, it was Black Panther actually live on my block when I was raised at. So it was always, he said, I messed. I said, don't worry about it. He said, yo, that cat right there. I said, oh, God. I was like, nah, don't do nothing. Nah, I'm going to talk to him, man. I'm going to talk to him. I said, listen, what I'm saying. Let me call. He put his arm around him. I said, no, don't. No, I'm not going to do nothing to trust me. You're not going to do, listen, bro, I got 2 kids. Your God kid, you upstairs with the mother. Let me have it, all right? I said, I don't want I said, people, listen, man. I'm gonna tell you once. You see them guys right there? They know they love him too. I'm not about that life no more. Little JT. They seen what happened in the train, but they didn't want to tell me. But and I hear him say, "Yeah, man, don't ain't worry about JT. Just pass him over here." And so the guy said, "No, no, we ain't gonna do that. No, 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 bruh. On my count to four, you better walk your A upstairs because I'm not gonna hold him back for long." And you know what? They say, "Yeah, man, we brothers up JT too. You better listen to my man. You better walk up them stairs, man, or you ain't gonna see the light." So one of them pulled up and said, "You know what I'm saying? Because I know you did certain things to people too that I didn't know nothing about. Yeah, you a snitch, man. You rob people. Yeah. You need to go upstairs and keep your mouth shut, or we gonna shut it for you." Now I'm gonna tell you how God works in mysterious ways. I said, "Let me walk him upstairs." Yeah, we gonna walk him. I said, "Come on upstairs." No, no, Jake. No, 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 no. Y'all stay downstairs. You know, I don't want nothing to happen to you. I got along with them anyway. But they want him bad. I did not know they know. I ain't never knew that they knew what's going on with me and him back in the days. He said, "Yeah, that's what we want to get out of him because we know you don't." So we walked them upstairs. And I said, "You keep on going." The guy said, "Yeah, man, you need to keep on going. Because if you stop, I can't hold him back."
Wow.
And I'm gonna tell you
Wow.
when this happened. This happened on the same week that my father passed.
I'm gonna tell you
1989.
something, and you don't know what type of aggression people are holding in.
Yeah.
You see,
So I was
sometimes
in with
we have to save ourselves, you know?
right. And so understand, get back to my friend here, right? His father passed away because you know of police brutality back in the 70s. And that was like my father. So my father became his father. He always said that that's my second father. And I had to tell him that week, yeah, he passed. I said, "What? Nah, not Mr. Thomas. No, no. Nah, you can't don't play no joke with." Yeah, man. So he wasn't playing with it anyway. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he knows I wasn't there either, but the grace of God, I said, I got, on the teachings of the Black Panther movement, you teach you how to, control your emotions, understand the system and how to work, with people that trying to hurt you, even your own and stuff. And it was enough restraint. Trust me, y'all, you know, yeah, I tell people I understand this too. Me and my father did not have the best relationship, but from 81 to 89, it got better. You know what I'm saying? It was
Mm-hmm.
getting better. So to lose him, like, yo, I'm like, yo, then like to go back to the guy, I see, his father passed with police brutality back in the mid 70s. And even I thought about that too. You know what I mean? Him and him they both was best of friends.
Isn't it something how we are so desensitized very young?
Mm-hmm.
We are desensitized and traumatized. We were very young. And I was looking at, not to go off the subject, but I was looking at, like, like neighborhoods in Queens and stuff like that. And I could remember going to neighborhoods in Atlanta, um, in the 80s. And the neighborhoods were nice. It's like people took pride in everything, their yards, their home, everything, the way we dress. And you go back to some of those neighborhoods and you like, or you look at pictures of those neighborhoods and you're like, wow, when Ronald Reagan dropped this crack stuff in our neighborhood, he really messed us up. I I remember a time everybody, I'm gonna say 98% of women I was around, they were married, they were families. Even in the projects, they were married couples. They had to be in by six. A lot of them had to be in by six. Most of the time, it was six after the father came home so they could have dinner. You know, like what happened to all that? Everybody sitting at the table, talking, playing games. We don't have that anymore at all. It's like even when you're sitting at the table, you're holding a phone in your hand,
Yeah.
texting back and forth. Like family business isn't private business anymore. Everybody got to be in your family business.
Yeah.
And I
And
feel
you
like
know,
it seems like back then, everybody ran their household differently, but the same. But we got along better because we could come together more to
yeah.
do
And,
things. We came together as a village for the
yeah.
children because I couldn't do something down the street. So and so would kick my behind, and then I would go home and get my butt beat again.
You remember that, right?
And I remember when we used to fight each other, and we'll be friends the next week.
Yeah. And also, Sister 18, I want you to go on this too. I remember when I said we came, right? When the mother and fathers had their business, the kids was out, but that
Oh,
grown and talk.
that's true. They didn't put the kids in their business.
They did. And so they said, no, let's grown up talk or wherever grown ups here or anything going get the family, that's grown up talk. But now we see right now, the kid become the parent and parent becomes the kids.
Yes, and the kids say they push their kids up to say and hate on adults. You know how my father always used to tell me, "Oh yeah, excuse me." My father used to say, "If you really want to know how somebody feel about you, watch their kids. Watch how their children react to you.
Oh,
The kids, if you really want to know how a person is, watch how their kids act when they're in public. That's really how that person is at home."
yeah, we was talking about that a little bit on part one. We never did that. It's so true because my father had a certain saying. He said, "Listen, when you see the kids act, that's how they run their household."
Yeah,
And I said, "Wow." He said, "Just look, just observe, just look." He said, "Look at their surroundings, not just behavior. Look at their surroundings, son. It would tell you a lot."
even like I see people, even though it's minor. My grandmother would have kicked out behind. They just there. You would go in a yard and around their house. It just has so much paper and cigarette. It's like they just, and then they want to invite you in their house, and I'll be like, nah. These kids, they always um eating candy and potato chips, and they throw their bag down. And I will go, well, why don't you make them pick it up? Because we had to do that. If we shot firecrackers on my grandmother concrete, you know what we had to do? We had to go out there and clean it up the next morning. The black spots, we had to scrub them off the concrete. If we were going somewhere, we didn't have to get dressed or put on shoes in the summertime if we were just staying around the house. But we had to get dressed. People don't, like you said, it really shows how people really care for themselves or for their things.
And also too, there are some parents feel if you get on their kids, no, 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 let me say this. There are a lot of parents want their kids to be their best friend.
No, your kids can't be your friend. Your kids can't be your friend. Hold on a second. Time said there was no way I could come in the house and make a mess. Right. We had to clean up whatever we did. But time, there was no way. When we played around the house in the 80s, when we played in our neighborhoods, the neighborhoods wasn't nasty. Even when we played, when I lived in the projects, or when I came out and I still used to go back to the projects in the late 80s and stuff, some people, they didn't have their yard nasty. They didn't have their front door nasty. They kept, even though they were in the projects, their homes were nice and their homes were kept. And I told my supervisor that one day I had on some hoops. And she said to me, now this lady, she was a white lady, but I got along with my other supervisors good. This one, I don't know what was wrong with her, but she loved black men. And I had some hoops on one night, and she always used to say sarcastic things. And she was like, she would say something about ghetto, and then she was like, oh, and Amari, your hoops look nice. And I turned around and I said, Jennifer, I said, I want you to know that the ghetto is much more classier than a trailer park. I said, go in a trailer park and look at it. And I said, go in a home in the projects and look at how they keep their house. I said, now get yourself together, says the lady who eats out the trash can. She said, all punishment was no ice cream truck, no getting in the fire hydrant like your friends, right? That was hard punishment for us, because when we heard that ice cream truck coming around, we was looking for them dollars so we could go to the ice cream truck, or we could go to and we could go in the fire hydrant. And going outside two time, us going outside, like that was hard punishment, y'all. Y'all don't think so?
Yeah, my parents think that sometimes, like, if my parents to beat me, but when I got older, I got good at basketball. So if you take basketball away from me, and plus I can't get no ice cream, I can't go out, I can't do nothing.
Time said the first time I saw plastic on furniture was my man Jose that lived in a project with the bees hanging like a curtain. Do you know, Time? My grandmother bought a brand new, it was a 1980 something Cutlass Supreme. You know, she went and had the plastic put on the seats. And when she sold that car, it was in supreme condition. And the guy that bought the car from her, he still has that car. But you know, the bead curtains were the bomb back then. Y'all remember the bead curtains?
You know, basically is in these days, they leave their shoes around, and they this and that. If there's no accountability, you know, no, well, you gotta understand. I'm not gonna raise them to be all and they gotta do this. No, no, no. You gotta raise them a certain way, especially us as a people, because we don't have to submit it. So they have to understand how the team was going on.
You're right.
And so I remember my parents said, I'm not the best friend. I love you, I'm not the best friend. When I talk to you, ain't gonna be nice all the time. It's
No,
gonna be a certain way, so you get what I'm saying. But
No,
earlier I understood that.
no, you're they sit up and and also I'm gonna tell you too, a lot of these parents' children have leverage on them. So once your child have leverage on you, especially like when I see discord between like a child, a married woman and a married man, I said, oh, that child know what mama doing. That's why that child could disrespect that man, even though it's the child's father. I'm not talking about stepdaddy, and get away with it. Cause mama hiding some stuff she ain't got no business doing.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, but why should I be this way? Why I mean, like, it's like, you cannot tell what to do with my kid. They have no, but I'm just saying, you hampering them for what the real world is offering them, especially other people. Am I
Yeah,
supposed to be that?
yeah. Certain things I don't let my kids know everything. Like my friend was like, well, she's not my friend. She is an associate. And my daughter said, Mom, did so and so go to jail? I said, yeah. I said, how you know that? Because she said she was in the car saying some stuff and she just out of the blue came out with this. I said, she thinks that I talk about her to you. I said, I called her on the phone and I said, did you tell my daughter you went to jail? She said, yeah. I said, I'm going to tell you something. I said, you got to get out your own head. I said, I don't speak negatively around adults, even though my children are adults. I don't let them know about everything about adults that they see me around or they see me say hi to me. I say, you know why? Because I don't want them to lose respect for somebody because they might be somewhere that I'm not and they might have something going on negative. And I need that other people to pull them from that negative space back into logical thinking. So one thing I don't do, I'm not gonna sit around and talk about what somebody did wrong or what somebody did because I'm no saint. I am no saint. And she the look the you could hear it in her voice like, and I say, you don't tell my child or let her hear everything negative about you. I said, because that could cause children to lose respect for you. And I don't want my kids going around disrespecting any adult. And the first time it happened was the grandmother was saying that my daughter's choir director was a liar. And I said, why are you saying my daughter was like 6? And I said, why are you saying this in front of my daughter? Well, if she's a liar, she's a liar. I said, but my daughter may not need to know that.
Right.
I said, that lady is her choir director. I said, you don't know what type of chaos you might cause. She gonna go on. You don't know. Even though my child wouldn't do it, but if it was another child, she go in there because my daughter didn't fool with people. She was always quiet. She'll go in there and say, "Oh, Miss So and So was a liar, and my grandma said this, and my grandma said that." And then what's gonna happen? It's gonna be with all the little kids on the choir, and then they're gonna start disrespecting the choir director, and then the choir won't go in and do what they need to do when they have to go sing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we have to be mindful. Hold on. My grandma always told me if you want to have something from grandpa, just put it in a book. Hide something from grandpa, just put it in the book. Grandpa told me if you want to hide something from grandma, give her money. That's grandma. Tonight. It was the opposite. My grandfather time my grandmother only went to the 3rd grade. My grandfather only went to the 8th grade. But my grandmother, I don't know, they was very prominent. I don't know why. But my grandfather was the reader. He was the one that would make us sit under the big oak tree and read. Um, and
Mhm.
they were both of them were big on books. They didn't allow like people would make us Easter baskets and stuff like that. My grandma would say, "No, give them books. Don't give them candy." Um, we stayed with them for a little while, so I always had highlight and everything coming in, and that's true. If you want to hide anything from a black person, you put it in a book because they're not looking in books. They're not opening books. They
They're
don't go
not
to the
going to rock.
library. It's
No.
so many programs at the library now, especially the inner city libraries. My kids used to go to the library every day after school because they always had something going on. During the week, there was
Mhm.
always something going on.
Yeah. I
Tupac Shakur rapped about that on the school song
it's the
of
world.
Me Against the World. Hmm.
Yeah. And and I want to go more on the point so too that even that is breaking down too, even if you're in a marriage or in a relationship, you should never tell anybody what's going on.
No, you shouldn't.
Even though, and sometimes I told people, sometimes it's not even true. You just go by what how you feel. Because it could actually backfire on you because I seen it happen to other people. They assassinate people, their character behind their back, and then when you with them and you like, come on here, and then kind of find out it's not true because you went through the feelings and stuff. And I also I'm 18, since the 18, I did a live about overly emotional people. When I find it, I'm gonna send it to your email so you can watch it.
Yeah, an
And
emotional person and a gun or a knife don't stand, the other person don't stand a chance. And I try my best now. I'm working on getting my strength back. I can't be around everybody. And used to say that all the time. Um, when I work correction, I used to be like, I'm on probation. I can't be around that person. And I don't go. I get invited places. I don't go. I get invited places with family. I'm not going because sometimes you really know how people really feel about you. And you don't know what they could be setting you up for.
that is true. You
My
know that.
father always told me, he always told me that. He said, if somebody invite you somewhere, most of the time, he said all the time, you ask them who gonna be there. He said, because if one of your enemies, or they don't even, you may not be an enemy of a person, but a person could be an enemy of you.
You,
If you don't
yup.
feel right around that person, you don't need to go because you don't know what they could set you up for. And he said, you don't get in a boat and go fishing with everybody. Because it was a guy that and he was like, I'm going fishing. You want to go fishing? And I told my dad, I said, Dad, why would he ask me to go fishing? And my dad was the type of person, he was to himself, but he had friends, but he was mostly to himself. And he said, he said he envied me. He said, that's when he said to me, don't ever get in a boat with anybody. He said, I know you like fishing. He said, but because he envied me, he might do something to you. And the water don't show traces.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have to be,
that's true.
that is true. 18, me and my sister lived in a library. Yeah, the library was a safe place. And it's so, the library, remember, anybody here remember Reading Rainbow?
Yes.
I can go anywhere. I could do anything. Take a look. It's in a book, The Reading Rainbow. Y'all remember
Hmm.
the song?
Yeah.
I can go anywhere. But what we learn is that books take us away. That's why I think I read a lot because books take you away from all this chaotic stuff going on around you. And books do take you away, and research and history, our history, black his I'm not gonna say history because history is not true.
Mhm.
Black ancestry and legacy. I love like this to hear the whole stories of us.
Yeah, and I know for me that when it's so funny that everything that we talking about, there's older people has telling us, and they wasn't lying because it was. I could tell you throughout my life, right? I can go to a place, right? Yeah, I don't feel right.
Yes.
I know something's going down, so that means I gotta be on guard now.
But you know why you could feel it? You know why? Because when you unwind and unplug and you're not going all the time, you could get in tune with yourself. If you're not in tune with yourself, you can't feel it. I remember going to an 80s party. This was in 2000 something, in the 2000 teens. And I was with my cousin, and I was with
Mm-hmm.
one of my father. He was my father friend and co-worker, but he was a younger friend and co-worker. And us three, we went to the 80s party. He was like, this is the 80 parties. This should be nice. So I just got this bad feeling. And I said, y'all, I said, we need to leave. And my cousin was like, the party just starting. Look at everybody coming in. I said, something about to go down. Girl, I'm from Bridgeport. I'm not from South Carolina. I survived Bridgeport, and surely I'm going to survive this. So by the time we got a quarter of a mile up the road, we got a call. Oh, they were shooting in a club. Where y'all at? They were looking for us. I said, we're gone. And my cousin looked at me and said, how you know that? Don't tell me you psychic. I said, I'm not psychic. I said, but I just had the feeling something was gonna go on. They was brawling outside the club. It says friends have has come in common within most of your enemies are people you actually grew up with. The friends you make when you are young sometimes only, and that's only lasts for a season in time. That's true. I remember my lieutenant, me and him got along real good. He was Jamaican. And he said to me, when he first started, he said to me, he called me and he said to me, Officer H, I said, yes. He said, uh, why don't you, he said, I never see you do any activities with them. Why don't you go out with them when they go out? I said, because these are people I work with. I said, we work in a prison. I said, we have to be very careful how we move around here and who we move with. He said, I don't even see you talk. It was one guy, me and him was close. I cannot remember his name because he and I used to exchange books. He was an older man and we would read books on our unit. So he said, that's the only person I really see you really have an interaction with. I said, because none of these people are friends. I said, where I grew up at, I realized that people really aren't your friend. I said, the inmates come back and tell me things. I said, it's a shame how the inmates know so much about some of these people's home lives. And then another thing, it was people's friends. When I saw people get set up when I was in middle school to be killed,
Uh-huh.
it was their friends, their so-called friends that they say grew up with them in a sandbox. Oh, we came out the sandbox together. Okay, but this man knows some people will be around you and you could give them the world and they can learn you from head to toe. And they're learning you to out your lights because they're jealous.
Mhm. You know, yeah, it's crazy. Let me get some shout outs before we continue. Thanks for coming to this chop up. Shout out to one LVZ, that's my LDBC fam. Shout out to the brother, always supporting me, always the truth, always stand up against the system. So I gotta acknowledge that. Thank you, brother, always being there. Nephew, thanks for being there, brother. Time and everybody else, and I thank y'all. Yeah. Matter of fact, before we continue, brother LVZ, hit me up on my email. I know you're a busy man and everything, but I just want to say one thing that also they are always say that brothers is don't ain't ride for our community. And I can say the one LVZ, he always was there, like, yo, burn the rain, yo, what you need? You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that. So I'm giving the brother the flowers right now, and I'm giving the sister flowers right now. That's how I do it. Like I told people, I ain't afraid of the system. And then we already got people. We already got people. Our people in the past has shown that. I ain't afraid of the
Mm-hmm.
system. We already got people already shown that. So I ain't afraid of the system. People like, yo, you gotta be. I ain't careful of nothing. I ain't afraid of y'all. I'm not a product of the system. I try to do whatever. And this
So
is to
as you
get
know,
rid of.
obstacles build confidence, obstacles build a bond with your dog. And everybody.
Oops. Okay.
I'm sorry, I hit my other phone. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It happens. So I'm not afraid. So so we have examples and stuff. I think I'm gonna do a live. I think I'm gonna do a live on that one day. And hopefully, Sister 18, you get on, and the other people you get on. But it's just crazy, how people, we don't, I appreciate that. I appreciate you acknowledge that. You know what I mean? We gotta
Yeah, we
support each
don't.
other.
It is because there's enough out here for everybody.
Yeah.
There's enough of everything for everybody. Yep, Tom, I love you too, my tribe brother. Time. Even though you
Oh yeah.
never join panels or anything. I don't know why you so shy. Back to your comment time. It says 18. Most enemies are people who you grew up with and played with when you were young. And that is true. When you look back, you be like, because a lot of times now I look back, I be like, dang, some of my cousins was even my enemies, but I wanted the love so bad that I didn't let them go when I should have let them go a long time ago, you know?
Yeah. So and also too, I find that out too. Like, I've been known for a minute now that we always say that, yo, you family. And I know people always say, yo, the blood be saying that they be disrespect you. But I'm talking about even ones that you think you close to that they could supposed to ride with you. They always say you family, then all of a sudden they treat you. No, you ain't family, you ain't ride with me. You ain't ride with me that I'm what I'm trying to do. Stop saying that you family to me and you just treat me like garbage. Treat me like shit. Nah. Yeah, must respect you, but and that's what I don't like, that's what I get back to one LVZ. When I met him years ago, one LV, LDBC, that stands for Lions Den Box Community, also basketball community. You want to go check us out. We be doing that thing. And you got to stand for something. I mean, you got to go through the storm. But you got to
Mm-hmm.
have people that is willing to go through the storm with you. They don't have to be there all the time, but they know what the storm is, what the system has put us through. It's continue to put us through. So I go back to examples that, again, I ain't afraid. What you could do? What you could do to me? You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly.
so with us as some us as a people, talking the black men and black women, do we see it today, right now? Come on now, I'm like, yo, like I ain't no suck in the I don't say nothing, but I ain't no suck in the street. You know what I mean? I told man to
Mm-mm.
man, you step to me. We gotta tangle something. But at the same time, you gotta understand the system. So there's many times I have to walk away. I had to walk away because I got bro, I'm gonna hurt you. But what happened? What that's going to prove is I give you a case in point before we continue, right? I was out of town, right? So I was chilling. So the brother like, yeah, man, what's up, man? I like that New York jacket. I said, I appreciate it. Like, yeah, man, you need to take that off. I said, you trying to take it off? Because that's not happening, right? I'm 6'2", and you ain't be, yeah, man, yeah, but I got some, all right, yeah. So he ain't know I already clocked him already. So again, our people, they say, so it was old guy say, hey, man, it ain't worth it, man. Yo, man, go on with that, man. Go there. I don't think you know who I'm dealing with. Go on. It was some guy that was in the lodge, part of the Black Lodge. And they said, we see what's going on, but he told him, go on with that. You all right, bro? I said, I'm all right. And so we gotta have people like that sometimes. And even like sisters, like we gotta have people like that that's willing to go through the storm. There ain't that many of us that will go to the storm. But see, when you go through the storm, you're not going to be noticed because we not part of the system. We not falling for the system. We in the system to get wherever we need to move on, to be positive, to feed ourselves and to feed our families and to help our people. Yes, but I am not a product of this. I'm not a product of this system. And the ones that we talking with, we are not product to this system, and we have to understand that. So when I put my key when I walk out here, yeah, I know as a person of African descent, and I know that it's not favorable to come back. I know that. But I make sure I put my key in that door and I pray. And also I pray for our people. I pray for our Black women, the ones that stand up for our people. And we don't talk about that enough. I ain't talking about y'all in the chat, because I know y'all do. I'm talking about the ones outside. We don't talk about, we don't talk about y'all enough. That know the system, that know the Black. Listen, no, I don't care. I'm gonna stick to that Black. I don't care. Oh, no matter what happens, I'm gonna stick to that Black woman. We don't talk about stuff like that.
Mm-mm. Times broke. I had people that wasn't my family that treated me just like family and just as good as my own blood relatives. Yes, I had people that treated me better than family. And it said big facts. You got to fall down to get back up and start having positive people in your life and get rid of all those yes people that are looking for something from you. That is true. That is
Yeah.
true. And most of the time we do have to fall to elevate, and sometimes we have to fall back and just to step back to take a few steps forward. And most of the time when we fall, it's so we can see who people really are.
Yeah, that's true. And that's why I'm talking like this because I fell. You know what I mean? I fell a few times. I got back
Adversity
up.
comes to shape us, though.
Yeah.
Adversity shapes us, and adversity really shows who a person is. When people out there gossiping about somebody's adversity, I'm always watching to see how this person is going to react to this. But adversity really shows a person's true character.
It's true. That's why I always tell people, oh yeah, that person ain't doing that person ain't doing it. You don't know that. I said, you don't know what that person made of. You probably think that person is weak. You probably know that person ain't don't have that much. Or I got more of that person. You don't know that person. You don't know what that person made. You don't know what God had ordained that person Oh, that of us as a that black man or that black woman, you don't know. You know what I'm saying?
We
So
have to stop putting people value in the material things that they have.
yeah, that's true. You're right about that.
Because that don't mean that they possess morals because they have a bunch of material stuff. That don't mean that they possess loyalty.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't know
because
how my grandma used to say, never be jealous of something somebody got because you don't know how they got it.
and also there are some that have it and still don't have no appreciation. They don't have no morals or values. Period. Going
Mm-mm.
going back when we talk about the household, you know, of almost 40 minutes ago. You can have a nice car, you can have a nice house and everything. It doesn't mean that you're a good person. You probably think, and you know, let me see, what's that word I'm thinking about? Entitled. They
Mm-hmm.
entitled. Entitled of what? You hold somebody else's hand? When you hold somebody else's hand, you hold the system hand? That's you saying to me? So we have to be real careful what I mean, what value, I mean, what abundance and value really means, because of that's what I mean. Like I give you case in point. I live in an apartment, right? Rented, but it's mine, right?
Yes.
Parents
It's
taught me
peace.
for morals and value, peace, morals and values, right? You know how you treat people. I don't look down on people because that's how I was raised.
We was raised, we was raised with the motto,
Right.
manners and respect will
Goes
take you
along.
where money won't. The manners, and that's true, manners and respect will take you where money won't.
And so when I tell people, they say, man, you know, why you treat me this way? What do you mean I treat you like what? Yeah. I ain't had nobody like treat me like you're a person, right? You're a human being, right? And so what? But I have to understand there are people put them as value, put their values all screwed up. Oh yeah, if you gotta have such as this, you that means you part of the part you part of that parameter right there. No, it doesn't mean nothing. Because when I take
Hmm.
my walks around, I take my walk and check on the community. I wasn't doing all that much because a lot of craziness out here. But when I do it and everything, I see how people put this out. I say, why you treat that person? That person live in the same place like you do. What makes you make? Well, I said, what makes you
Yes.
different?
I
What makes
went
you different?
walking. I forgot what morning, a few months ago, I went walking and I heard people locking their car doors. And I was like, what the hell? Ain't nothing in nobody's car that I want.
Yeah.
Come on, white people. Come on, people. Y'all are the most barbaric people in the world. What you locking your car for? Ain't nothing out here I want. Ain't nothing. And I say that. My father taught me, he said, I'll take you out of jail for anything but stealing. If you get caught stealing, I'm not coming to get you out of jail. If I can't ask for it from you, I don't need it. It just ain't for me. And if you say no, it's not for me to have. You understand what I'm saying? But you got some people that they do that. They go scope out people homes, they go scope out people cars, and then they come back later and they get what they want.
Yeah. But see, I want to touch more. I know we touched a little on that on the first part when we do the chop. I'm not glad you're back here, and I just want to say thanks again, sister. Thanks again. But also I find that there are some of us, right, quote unquote, right, live in these nice areas that the system said, you know, nice house. Hey, I'm not saying that of anybody. If you work hard, you should get a nice house. You should make sure you good. I'm not talking about that. I want people to understand what I'm saying. But I'm talking about the ones that in the system that fail to understand. You got a nice house. You got a nice family. Right? You think you're a nice family, right? But at the same time, And then you stick your nose at other people like, why you stick your nose at other people? And then when you get to know them, right? Oh, I never knew that they conversations like that. I never thought they intelligent like that. Oh, why? Because I don't live in I don't live in a nice neighborhood like you do. That's the son. And sometimes there are some people no more than them, but they are so corrupted in this thing that people say you don't need to be with these people. You don't need to be with these people. And then you go to these jobs talking about some. They put out talking about some, and they talk about it. I ain't with the system. Yeah, you play on the system. You let them talk about you. Let them talk. You
They
tell
don't
all.
own, but they could lose everything in the nice neighborhoods at a drop of a dime. Where I live at is nice, and they trying to make it a lady was out here for a long, long time. A young lady, she's younger than me. She said they trying to make this a senior community. I said, how could people that just moved here try to make it a senior community? She said, yeah, they don't want us. They don't want us here. They're trying to make it a senior community. And I was like, oh wow, whatever. I said, but I don't get into all that. I stick to myself, and the people that speak to me, I speak to, and who don't speak to me, I don't speak to them.
Got you.
And it's all good.
Okay.
You know?
This the A-Team. This is a chopper. So if there's anything, you can ask me anything you want. It's a chopper.
When what was I getting ready to say? My day is good. Okay. When it boils down to it, and my daughter said a police officer said told her, she said, it's a real upper class, upper echelon neighborhood. And the police officer said more go on here than in the ghetto. It's not publicized. We can't publicize the things that go on here. He said the worst stuff go on there, where you see them big pretty houses and stuff. And he said, think about the attitudes of some of them. What they have is just filling voids and covering up stuff. And I'm gonna tell you something too. Living in a subdivision, or we could just lose anything. We could lose everything at the drop of a time. My sickness taught me that. You could wake up one day full of energy, and just something could happen and you could just lose everything.
All right. Again, Sister A-Team. You can ask me anything about me. One, but I want to get this out. So
Okay.
feel free. Feel free. Want you go
Okay.
for it. All right. But I want to get this out while you're thinking. But the sad thing, I keep on throwing out this word, not throwing out the word, I'm sorry. Entitled. They
Mhm.
feel that they made it. As long as I keep on helping, right?
Mhm.
They always gonna be safe. But sometimes life is not like that. One way
Mhm.
you got to deal with yourself. That's what I always tell people all the time, that I don't want to sound spiritual. That's why I say each of us had to have a personal relationship with God. You hear what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
and that's what they fail to understand. Stop. You cannot just keep on praying for other people. They got to develop that, and that's why I see people. I see some of my people, and I be looking like, look at them. You hear the little snicker conversation. Yeah, I look at them like, okay. But I'm just saying like this though. That could be taken away from you just like that. And that person you live with or you hang out or whatever it is, they cannot save you. So what you gonna do? What you gonna do then? Especially you never fit for yourself. You never then you fail to understand. You fail to listen to the elders was telling you. You fail to have develop morals and values within yourself. You fail to treat people with respect, even maybe you've had more than them. So what you gonna what are you made of?
We fight. Or excuse me. Can you hear me open shaking my pumpkin seeds? I'm sorry. We
It's all
fight
right.
good and evil every day. We have to fight our own will. And you can't argue with people that's at war with themselves. A lot of people are at war with themselves.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
ain't even it's not even about you. And that's what I tell people. It's not even about you most of the time. Most of the wars or the battles people fighting are within. That's what it comes from within. That's why I don't even be up for the arguments or any of that stuff.
It's just for me that when are we going to get it? And then that's the thing for me, sis. That again, I'm imperfect. I make mistakes like anybody else. I fall short like anybody else. But like I said, I coined this. Eternal learning is important. Salute. Thanks for coming, Sister Foot Soldier. Thanks for coming. Always a blessing to see you, sis. And we fail to understand that, and we wonder why the marriages ain't working, why the relationships ain't working, why our family unit is all over the place and stuff.
Because we too full of ourselves. We're all about self. We're all about I, and me, me, and every little thing hurts your feelings when sometimes people could unconsciously offend you. It's not like they meant to, but sometimes some things just happen, or either it's in your head. Like I told the young lady, get out your own head.
But this one, I don't. I mean, like I said, I get it, but there are some people they can make certain mistakes and they let that happen. But when it comes a person that is not making mistakes, you take it out on them. Or every little thing they say, you got a problem. That's crazy to me. No.
If you got a problem with everything somebody say, that's because your antagonistic demon
Oh,
is being upset. Their spirits upset your demons. So you antagonize them and you want to provoke them into somebody that they're not. Because why should you can't you're just mad at everything somebody say? That's
yeah,
impossible to be
yeah.
mad at everything. You can't agree with some things somebody do, some people do. Just because you disagree with one or two things somebody do, or their lifestyle don't fit yours, just stay away from them. We
How
are
about,
all different. Everybody' lifestyle is different. Stay away from them.
but what about the ones that constantly make mistakes and toxic, but they don't say nothing about them?
Say that again. Repeat that. I didn't hear it.
How about the ones that they around? Hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. I'm gonna give it to you in a few seconds. How about the ones that they constantly keep around, knowing they make mistakes, but they don't correct them?
Because it gives them somebody to look down on and talk about, so they could build themselves up to other people. In time, that's right. No, if you got a problem with everything, look in the mirror. The problem might be you, just like I stated. The biggest war is within. The biggest war with people is within. That's why I can't get caught up in other people's war with self.
Yeah, but at the same time, right? They are ones do not hold them accountable. Period. Because you know why I said it? Because it happened to my family.
Say that again.
I said there are even some of my family. They be around be around, they make mistakes, but they excuse them. They don't say nothing about them. They don't hold them accountable or nothing.
That's true. But when it's you, it's okay when they do it. But when it's you, the black sheep, they got a problem with it.
That's the problem I have of our people. That's why you cannot tell me that I'm family, but you let them do what they want to do. But when it comes, every little thing you do, and simple. I'm talking about certain members of my family, and even some outside the family throughout the years. But see, again, we don't want to talk about it. Because you know why? Because we step on toes, and especially if you got to understand that's my family. Oh, you got to understand that's my friends. Oh, you got to understand that's my job. Oh, you got what I got to understand what? I really understand what? And
And I get tired of hearing that, oh, but that's family. But if family behavior towards you is always nasty, and you can feel the vibration when you walk around in a room or something.
hey,
And
but
they're
they say
always,
it's you.
yep, they always doing something catty and cantankerous. You don't want to be in that, so you just don't come. I don't care what y'all have. I don't care who getting married. I don't care who having a cookout. I don't care how much free food. I don't care what. I'm not going nowhere where I really don't feel welcome because the welcome ain't real. I'll
Yeah.
stay. So I enjoy myself. I can open my bottles of wine. I can go walking. I could get in a swimming pool. I could go sit on the beach by myself. How y'all think? I be wanting to say so, but how y'all think I recovered so well when my husband died? I used to go to the beach sometime 10 o'clock at night and just sit and listen to the waves crash. I'm good. I can
Yeah.
go play in a garden. That's fun to me. I can play in a garden while y'all having a whole hold down out there. I can play in a well, you don't do nothing. You I met a guy and he asked me what I do for fun. I said playing gardens, sit on the beach. Oh, what you do? Um, this is I'm looking at him like, okay, so what is it you want me to say I do? I don't care for the limelight like that. I don't care to be seen all the time.
I remember this was a long time ago. That's when my mom's was living. And that's when my second older brother was living. Now, as a matter of fact, before let me say this. All right, today is my late youngest brother's birthday. He would have been 46, but his name, my younger brother is Lamar. So I'm dedicated the live that I did in the morning. Also, I'm dedicated to my younger brother Lamar. He would have been 46. So I got to put that out there. Love you, miss you. Your big brother always gonna ride for you. So I had to get that out. But I remember, and also my mother, my late mother passed away in 2019, with my younger brother passed away a month and a half later. My late second oldest brother passed in 2020. I just want y'all to know the years. So, but go back years ago when I was living, and my brother, we always hung out, talk. This was in New York, and he said, and he said, yeah, man, we're gonna go. I said, he said, I don't want to go. So we don't go there. So we went. He said, "Go check it. Let's go check it out." And we went there, and it was like we looked at each other like this. Like he said, "My treat. Let's go to the restaurant." Cause we felt it. Cause my brother's like this. If you cannot accept I'm not gonna tell the relationship, but it was blood. I'm just gonna say it like that. It's
Hmm.
blood. If you cannot accept my brother, you can't accept me. We out. Now I already knew. I said, we stay there. No, we out. Good, we good. You can't say
Cooking.
my brother. That's
Oh, we gotta
what?
go.
No, I'm out. No. And so I remember they called my mother, my late mother, and she said, "Y'all understand like this?" And he said, "Yeah." And so we stopped at my mother where they were living at that time. It was like right across town to my mom's. So in the car, I had like 10, 15 minutes. It's cross town, so ain't so. She said, "Let's go see mommy." I said, "Let's go see my side. Let's see mama." See, mommy, see, she said, "Yeah, they don't want to." How you? So I'm next. I'm next. To the youngest. So they say they call mama. They call you knee baby. Yes, how you treat my knee baby then? Huh? Mother knows how you treat my knee baby. Well, no, how you treat my knee baby. No, he ain't gonna be around that. Click. So now my mother was talking. My late mother was talking. My late second. Thank you, nephew. Appreciate you. We ain't getting off yet. Make long story short, talk moms and everything. I said, "Mom, that's why I don't be around family." She said, "Yeah, I understand." And my brother, my late second oldest brother, told me, "Say, no, nah, it ain't gonna happen like that. That's why he don't want to." And so, and my late second oldest brother, in his own way, he always trying to make sure be in tune with the family. But sometimes I don't want to be in tune. I can't be around people who don't respect. I coined this too. I don't be around people who don't respect my existence in conversation. And I'm about that too. I'm about the outside of the family too. So along the years that I got older and stuff, you gotta see people who they are and stuff. And sometimes, like Sister 18, I'm glad she brought that point out a while back when we was talking. Can't force yourself. No, you don't be right. Listen, don't fake the funk on me because listen, I'm not faking the funk on you. I know I'm a good person. I know I'm a funny person. I know I'm an engaged person. If you don't like me, something wrong with you. They ain't all about sounding like, oh yeah, I know me. I know how I was raised. And I know what people surrounded by me and give me that criticism that I need to make sure that I am what I
Hmm.
am. You hear what I'm saying? So
Well,
I
don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. Tell me what I did wrong so I can correct it. Show
but
me
sometimes
how. Don't laugh
you
at.
might do nothing wrong.
Or don't laugh at me. Show me how to do something so I could do it right. If I'm not doing it right. Cooking with CER. Yes, be your authentic self. Don't I try not to give anybody an
Good.
idea of me. I just try to be me and I don't care if you don't like it. So what? But you ask what kind of things do I plant? I'm just starting back planting because I had strokes due to blood clots in 2022, and I think it was from the jab. That's another thing I want to do a chop up on because there were some doctors that all took the jab and they all had brain issues. But I I I used to plant all my herbs like thyme, rosemary, um, parsley, stuff like that, onions, ginger, turmeric, okras,
Uh-huh.
um, kale. That's the kind of stuff that I plant. When I
Uh-huh.
go back to the country cooking with CER senior, I'm I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna plant a whole lot more when I get back
Okay.
out in the country. And I also think I want chickens. I'm gonna get some hatch and some laying hens, and I'm gonna do like eggs and stuff for the older people in the community.
Okay.
But the younger people they probably will have to buy. And then I want to do saffron too. Uh, that's another herb that I want to add because it's so expensive. And that's what I love gardening. I love digging in dirt. Are you still there, CER senior?
Yeah. You still there, brother? Yeah. So yeah. So that's what's up and everything. Are you willing to take questions?
Yes.
And also, I'm still looking for you to ask me some questions because this is a chopper, man. You gotta ask me. You gotta ask
I
me.
think I asked you all the questions, earlier, and then you answered them. That was earlier, but when we have the next one, I'll write down some stuff so I can have some questions for you. And I pretty much already know because my brother was I pretty much already know I was gonna ask you, but I'll save that for the next one because I'm getting tired. I don't know if you
Okay.
can hear it in my voice.
Okay.
I am
This is
getting
what we're gonna
stronger, but
do. All right.
um,
Can you spare 10 more
I was
minutes?
gonna ask you how it felt to
Okay.
be a dark skinned child because I know how dark skinned people were treated back in the day and the names and stuff they were called. But when you look at, I told my friend she's very dark skinned. Her and my daughter the same complexion. And my daughter, my husband, my late husband used to tell my daughter, dark is beauty and light is hog duty. He said when she was a little girl, he said that's what you say to people. But I used to tell her about her skin from the time she came out the womb, even though she came out light bright. I kind of knew she was gonna get dark, but it was something. It was just something in me that I would always preach to her about her skin, and she loves her skin and her natural hair. And I think this bleaching thing is out of control, and I think this weave thing is out of control. But
Mhm.
that's gonna be for our next chop up. The growing up, one of the questions as a dark skinned child in the child.
Oh, so you told me you want to have part three. Okay. We got part three. We got part three. Your problem. I don't give out part threes, but it could definitely be a part three. But we're gonna take questions. Now, what's the question? Would like to be a dark skinned child?
No, I'll say that's for the next time. But I
Okay.
see you be walking. How many times do you walk a day?
I can, in a good move, I could like if I constantly like need something for the house, right? Or I take walks. It could be like 2 or 3 times.
I
Like
used to ride my bicycle. I got to get a three-wheel bicycle now. But I used to ride my bicycle to the store, and people used to be like, "Well, what's wrong with your car?" I'd be like, "Nothing." You, yes, I'm riding my bicycle to the grocery store. I'm not picking up that much stuff. It's exercise. I used to walk to the grocery stores a lot too. Cooking with CER senior, being dark skinned is crazy work. Trust me, I know. Being darker skinned, I know. My late husband was dark skinned. My mother didn't like dark skin, and she is dark skinned. She told my sister, go have a baby by a white guy because my kids are black, and she don't want no black kids, and she would tell my kids, oh, stay out the sun and all type of stuff. And I
I
asked her one day, I said, how did you feel when you said people used to call you a little black booger and stuff like that? Like, how did you feel? And why are you projecting that onto your grandchildren? Because my kids are beautiful to me, and people come up to them and tell them how beautiful their skin is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a young lady back in the 80s because, in the 80s, let me explain this. It's been going on long before the 80s and stuff, but I'm talking about commercially. The dark skin was not in really in the 80s and stuff. But like I said, it's been going on a lot. In the past, I had this she's a sister, and she was darker than me. She said, "You too." I said, "I can't. I need a light skinned man. You ugly to me."
I ain't never like I was never in a light skinned man.
That was told to me.
Never, never in a light skinned man. They always tell me, oh, the only thing a light skinned man could do for me is show me where the dark skinned men are. Hey,
So
Time said, he like Time. I like swimming, and I used to hike too. But I was in the pool. I just got in the pool this summer. Well, this spring. Last week was my first time back in the pool. I sometime my right leg, sometime it get weak and give out. So I bought this big floaty thing, so I could
mhm.
go in the deep end and I
Uh-huh.
could do like the paddles with my leg. I'm gonna get back to swimming because I used to love to swim. I used to hike too, but
Oh
I
yeah.
ain't do it in so long. I don't. Child. I go to the gym too to get my strength back.
Mhm. Right. I got to get back into play basketball. And I miss doing. I hadn't touched the ball in a while, so I know I got to go. I ain't playing no games, so I got to do my individual skills and stuff. Get the coordination back. The condition and stuff. There ain't no joke when you hitting 59 in June, y'all. So I got to get back there. But I know that it
You
helps me.
59. That's a blessing.
It is. I'll be
That's a
59
blessing.
June 4th and everything. So, it's a blessing. It is. So,
Cooking
yeah.
with CER Senior. You say you don't swim because you can float. You don't swim because you can't float. You can float. You just
I
never
can't.
learn
I
to
can't
take
swim
the
either.
time to swim. I did
I can't.
lessons. I took my kids to swimming lessons when they were 6 months each.
Yeah.
But
I don't. I
yeah,
don't know how to ride a bike.
when my daughter was 4, I took mommy and me swimming lessons. So that's how I learned how to swim. You say you don't know how to ride a bicycle? Well, you just have to get you a 3-wheel bike. Like now I can't keep my balance. So I have to get me a 3-wheel bike. I gave my bike to my little sister.
Did we do go like that? And then people say, "Why you not riding a bike?" I said, "I had brothers. She not riding a bike, but they was not patient with me. So basketball was my thing. I
How could
love.
how could everybody had bicycles back in the day?
If you ain't had a bike, you could borrow a bike. Because
Hmm.
there's some people had like 3 or 4 bikes, and then you don't keep it at the house and keep it other people. Oh, you can go get it.
Because every Christmas they get a bike. Every
That's
Christmas or birthday they get a bike.
huh?
I say for their Christmas, every Christmas or birthday, they will get a bike. That's
Yeah,
how my husband was with my kids. He felt like if something went wrong with their bike, they needed a new bike. No, my grandfather used to fix that flat tire.
yeah. My late second oldest brother had a friend that lived on the other side of Brooklyn, and they did to go. They went to school together and stuff. And my brother had a bike at his house, so every time like my brother, go to his house, he had a bike.
Hmm.
He had a bike. He can't keep it in the house because where we live at, there was no room for the bike. But he had a bike. My older brother, at that time he was living with us. He had a bike, but my late grandmother bought him a bike. My second old sister, I think I don't know about that, but my older sister, she had a lot of bikes. She said, "Why you just get a bike?" And right, I don't want no bike. So, cause y'all ain't patient with me and help me and stuff like that. Sure, I'll boil it. But they said, "But you get on the bike, get there quicker." I used to walk.
You
Oh,
used
I
to
take
ride the handlebars. You didn't ride handlebars. Remember, sometime they would put a person who didn't have a bike on the handlebars and ride them.
yeah, I did that, but I'm like, as long as I had a ball in my hand. and there's a park nearby, or I had to travel far, I find a way to get to that park. Yeah, I had friends that had bikes. They say, "You're in school, you can buy. I meet you there." Cause we have to wait. You don't have to wait for me. I'll walk it, or sometimes I take the train or bus, but usually I walk it. And yeah, that's how it was with me. I ain't even wait. That had people make fun of me right now. You and I ride bike. Okay. That one thing I ride bike.
Oh, I had a big wheel too in a go-kart time. No, what I want now, I need me I have to get me I want me a four-wheeler. I need a big ATV.
Yeah, somebody told me, say, you get your three wheel, man. That's like, I said, three
Yeah, I
wheel?
think you should because that's you could ride your bike to the store for exercise. You can I don't know, I just on a nice day, it's like riding my bike. I just felt so free.
And then right, and then so cause one of my friends, he said, I said, why did I say some of the people you be seeing you like they had them bikes, them bikes and stuff, had them the three wheels and stuff. I said, I thought they know how to ride. And some of them know how to ride. They get the three wheel. That's where you see the three wheel, the bikes,
And what was that little thing? It was like three wheels. It was a green machine or something time, and you could ride the kids like my kids them had them, and you could ride real fast, and then you stop real fast. It was and you I'm gonna look it up and see what it was. These kids ain't have the fun we had. I think everybody had a big wheel when they turned like 2, 3.
I don't. I mean, I can't remember. I remember my brother sister had a. I mean, no, I can't. No, I know that my niece and nephew because I became an uncle when I was 5. So I know. I remember they had big wheels. I did have a big wheel. I don't know, but see, I remember the basketball and the Tonka toy. They said, "You like Tonka? I like Tonka toy. I like big trucks and all that." So I used to ride up and
Mhm.
down like that. So but like that, but boy, it was my thing. Was like, boy, I played baseball a little bit and played football, but basketball was my thing. I played ball. That was it for me. I like I
I
said,
ride my bike to my second job. I don't blame you, time. That's exercise.
I just want shoot. Sometimes it be drizzling outside. My mom say, "You don't want that to take you." No, I don't want that to take me down. I want rain.
That's how it
Play.
was when I used to exercise. People will be like, "It's rain," because sometime here, like it'll just pour down a rain. People will be like, "You walking in the rain? You want me to bring you home?" And I will say, "No." Um, I like the rain for some reason. I said I like walking in the rain. I said I just like nature. A lot of people will stop and say, "You want to go home?" No. So they started calling me crazy, but it was just something about the rain. I wasn't gonna melt, you know, but I like the rain.
Yeah, so that's what it was. I played ball in the rain. I play sometimes that's snowing. I brush the snow and play ball in that. Yeah, and that's the same time they work in my endurance and stuff like that. It was fun like that. Hey, family, we gonna close out in a few minutes. So if y'all want to ask questions, feel free because she sound tired. We don't want to keep her. So we're gonna give like 10 minutes. So 10 minutes good for you.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes, y'all. We're gonna close out. So we're gonna let
Time
the
it's called a Huffy Green Machine Big Wheel, and it's like a drifter. It was like a
oh,
drifter. It was like a drifter. What you call it? Things big wheel. It was a drifter big wheel. You know what I'm talking about? Hmm.
green, right?
That was after our time, though. Time. That's after our time. My kids and them had it. That was after our time. We had the was it American Flyer? What was that? That was the remember the American
The big
Flyer
wheel,
thing?
right? Big wheel.
No, American Flyer. It had a handle. It had four wheels, and sometime we used to sit in it, or we used to walk around with we used to put our stuff in it, our doll babies. It was like it wasn't a wheelbarrow, but we used to pull it. Don't let people discourage you from what you love to do, because they are lazy and they don't have the willpower to do what you that's what it is. Because a lot of people say, I wish I could walk, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, and then all of a sudden I started seeing a lot of people around town. They started buying bicycles, because I had the beach cruiser like the Wicked Witch of the East had, remember, with the two big tires and
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
yeah, they ride smooth. And I started seeing a lot of people buying beach cruisers. I said, oh, I'm a trendsetter now, eh?
Yes, you are.
I gotta remember. Let me look that up. I can't remember. It was red. It wasn't a wagon.
Oh man, been a while. Let me see. Trying to remember. Cause I remember, I see somebody in my family had that back in the days too. Used to
It was a wagon. It was a radio flyer wagon. It was a wagon. They probably made out of plastic now. Ours were made out of metal, and they had a handle on them. It was a wagon.
some of them had the bells.
Yes, some people put bells on theirs.
Yeah, I think man.
These kids don't even touch dirt anymore. And then if
No,
your kids outside, you gotta watch them so hard because there's so much human trafficking going on.
it is. And, back, yeah. And that's what I be like when I be taking walk around and stuff like, and I be seeing like mothers. I mean, I'm not gonna say mother. I see parents be letting them play in the street. I say, do you see that car? Matter of fact, do you know stop? Hey, questions, y'all. 7 more minutes. Getting off. 7 more minutes. You want the questions? Put it in. It was one night. I forgot. I forgot to check my mail. Right. So I went to check my mail. I see these kids at the corner. Right. I say, wait, we just playing. Where your parents at? They over there. I said, you need to go where your parents at. You don't put it. So I see these two cars keep on circling around.
Hmm.
So some told me, so now that was the night that the missus, she was on her way come to see me. So she said, what's the matter? I said, no, don't keep on talking because she said, I don't like the way you walk in the community this time now. I said, I know, but this is what I do sometimes, but I understand she said the concern. So I get that. So I said, what are you crying for? I said, oh, I see these two cars keep on circling around 2 or 3 times. She said, well, she said, I might. I'll never forget. It was raining off and on. She said, so if I get cut off, don't worry about it. I'll call you when I'm nearby side, no problem, right? So this keep on circling around, right? So one of them was going, I know you ain't trying to get, so they speed off, right? So I say, come with me. It said, and it was like one car was half men, half of the men and half women. And the second car was a full women. And I said, I took to them. I said, come with me. He said, you all right? I said, I'm fine. I said, y'all not watching them or something? Why, there's two cookies was circling around trying to take them.
Wow.
I said, you need to keep an eye on them. Man, after that, and then after you too, you need to keep an eye on them.
Hmm.
I said, they could have been taken. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Especially, I put my life on the line. Yeah, I could have got hurt. And so I'm like, you have to be kidding me. So the way that I was living at, right? There's highways about less than maybe each way, I probably maybe like 3 or 4 miles, right? Each way. So you hit all the lights, they get on the highway, that's done. Either way. You hear what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's it. They go. And so hey, listen, man, you don't tell us what to do. We watching like you ain't how you watching your kids? You're talking, you're conversating. Where's your wife? I was full. Oh, I was so pissed off. Man, I was, and I had to come and say, I was like, what? Because it wasn't like that when he was coming up.
No, it wasn't like that. We could be outside playing in the street,
Yeah,
and no, it wouldn't be no problem.
no.
But now things are different. Hold on, let me see what time read. Time wrote Easy Bake Oven was the toy back in the day for the girls. Yes, time. I had an Easy Bake Oven also. And I'm sure that guys like the Easy Bake Oven because they got to eat what we cooked. Yes,
Yeah,
it was a wagon. Some people did have a bell and it was a wagon. And then they just found some missing teenagers unalive. My homeboy just told me he lives in Charleston. He said up the street from him and his wife's house, which they're separated. He said he lived with his mom. His wife lived with her mom. He said he go check the mail. He said
mhm.
he would see the people and the activity, but he never, like really paid it any attention. He said they just busted the house for human trafficking.
Yeah.
Um, we used to play marbles in the dirt. I played marbles too. I used to lose all of my marbles. My dad would keep me with marbles um, when I came down here for the summers, and he worked at the steel mill, so he would make steel marbles for me and big ones too. Some of them, but they used to get my marbles, and they used to come to my grandma's house specifically to play with me, so they could win my steel marbles. But yeah, the human trafficking is crazy, and they probably were mad with you because you told them to watch their kids. But Soldier, where do you live? I mean, where? Well, what city was the missing teenagers found in?
Hey, greetings, we Los Nation. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
Greetings, we got Lock Nation. We're
Thank
about
you.
to end though.
Yeah. Where I live at is in Virginia.
Okay.
I live in Virginia. So where I live in the Hampton Roads area. I live in Newport News. So in a certain part of the Hampton Roads area, it's open. You hear what I'm saying? And so if you're in the car, you hit all them lights. You hear what I'm saying? You go.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'll salute to you. Thanks for coming. It's all right. It's all right. Don't worry about it. As long as you here, it's okay. It's okay, family. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Thank you very much for coming, for
Thank you.
joining us. We
And
appreciate it. Y'all
yeah,
have
we
to go
appreciate it.
subscribe to my channel. I'm
Yeah,
still
please.
getting my podcast space together. So once I get it together, hopefully by my birthday I can open up.
Yeah, no problem. Hope you invite me. No, he's not messing with
I
you.
sure will.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
want
but
to have a YouTube party.
now hear that. Yeah, don't worry about it. You be here, you here. Don't worry about it. I already subscribed to you already. But we got okay now. It's 3:50. I said yeah, I said 3:40. I give you 10 minutes. And
Yep. Okay.
and so last what you want to say?
I just want to tell everybody just be who you are. Take pride in yourself and what you have. I don't care if you sleep on an air mattress, you get up every day and you make that mattress up. Whatever you live in one room on an air mattress, you keep it clean and just always fight. Every day is a fight. We fight with the battles of good and evil. Know that it's not you that people are at war with. A lot of people are at war with themselves, and they want you to believe that they're at war with you. But the war is within. Our greatest war is within. And Just watch your surroundings and be safe out there.
Okay. Foot Soldier said Tennessee. Mm.
I could believe that.
And
I'm,
so,
I'm
wow. Um, my last remarks is this that it's going to be a part three. I know people say, but you ain't do part three. It's going to be certain ones going to be part equal. I tell you, you're lucky I give you part two, but it depends on the person. It depends on, so this going to be definitely a part three. And that doesn't mean that everybody would get part three. I'm just letting you know that right now. It depends on the conversation. And so, wherever time is right, with Sister Ateam, right? We're gonna make it happen on part three. I don't know when. I reach out to her and she always come check me out anyway. So but the thing is today, and also I want to thank Sister Ateam. Thank you so much to take out the time, to come back, to bless you with your presence and your wisdom and all of that. I really appreciate that. But the thing is that us as a people, we still got ways to go.
Have a good day, Foot Soldier. Thank you very much for your time. You're
Yeah,
greatly appreciated.
yeah. Thank you always, sister. But we have to understand that we want to get better. I'm talking about the black man, the black woman. Do our humanity too, yes. But especially out here, we want to get better. The black man, the black woman, we got to hold each other accountable. Constructive criticism is essential. We have to, if we talking about we want to be a better you, like God's always saying, we got to do better. And when we do better, we got to set an example. We have to set an example because we lose it. We really lose it. And like I said, if you don't want to be your genuine self, don't bring that person with you. If you want to be what you want to be, just understand there are consequences and you got to deal with them. And there's nobody going to save you. Understand that when you have to answer to God. And also, it starts at home. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So better understand that. You better understand it loud and clear. So when you in your little homes and then you think you better than anybody else, or somebody live with you, you think anybody else, just understand the same things that God had given you. God could take it away from you if you're not willing to do God's will. If you're not respect people the way that God see fit. So you better understand that. Talk about people and assassinate people and all that they name and stuff. Oh, look at and you don't think that you don't think they read you about you too? Why that person cannot defend themselves or all like that, and why he no. Now because now y'all talking false tongues. You better understand that. So I want to thank y'all on behalf of my channel, the underrated doctor, yours truly, the #1 grinder, one of the best kept secrets on social media, the best of the business. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And this is the last of the chopper with Sis Ateam 3307. It's going to be a part three soon. For part three soon. Hashtag the truth, #1 grinder. And the ones who come in late always catch the replay. And oh yeah, you might have another one Tuesday. Might another chop up Tuesday. Might that be a part two? This person because I did a chop with this person part one, but it's gonna be a part two. God's one. Hope, right? So watch out for that. I'm gonna see that I'm gonna do. I usually do a Sunday talk. I don't know yet. It depends how I feel. But if it is, please watch out for it. And We go from there. Again, thank y'all so much. Have a great afternoon. Yeah, I agree. Yep, we start from home. So when you don't start from home, and then all of a sudden, when things come up, oh, that person, they don't respect that person. Well, you didn't teach them at home. And then you can't hold their hand either. They got to deal with it themselves, and that's life. Got to deal with it themselves. But thank you again, Sister Ateam 3307. It's going to be a part 3. It's going to be a part 3. But thank you. I appreciate you. Have a blessed one. Great afternoon, great night. And let's be peace within each other, within yourself, and let it flourish to each other. Thank y'all. This one is Ghost. Peace out. Be blessed.